Okay, it's day 161.1, and since a couple of folks accused me of being a agent for DIA, I thought I would explain a little bit what Defense Intelligence Agency is, at least from my perspective, and then talk about it really. To me, it's simplified by maybe the logo here, which was we're going to spread the intelligence around to 5 different agencies around the world or 5 different governments around the world. And we're going to also spread the information and intelligence around civilian agencies. So now try and break us up into 1,000 pieces, Mr. Kennedy. I really believe DIA was a response to Kennedy's desire to break up the CIA into 1,000 pieces. And by cleaving off DIA and going for a more scientific approach as well was the way they sold it that really allowed DIA to kind of exist as its own, as a check against Kennedy's desire to break the CIA into 1,000 pieces. So it's very relevant to our story. And then the other piece I would say is also the using information operations and fear to influence a society rather than show of force. This was the Clockwork Orange movie, if you ever saw it, was to not only cause fear in the British population, but then make the British population want to militarize their police force. So the yellow part of it is the fear, the red part of it is it develop gangs, develop blood in the streets, develop horrific terrorist incidents, and then the combination of the two, you get an orange kind of color. And the orange color, then you clockwork continually the people of the country with continued incidents of terrorism and so forth. So they want to continue militarizing the police force, tanks, gas masks, etc. And then you start working a list. So you can see kind of the background here. Here's the HQ. Here's the idea of the fusion center here, where we're going to bring in 75% of the employees are civilian. So you can constantly pay to play here. There's lots and lots of pay to play always here. So SES and bringing executives here is going to be a huge opportunity. So we're going to definitely drill down on SES, DIA folks, as well as the different folks that are part of the Fusion Center, NGA folks that are coming over there, NRO, etc. The DIA is also kind of has a little bit more of a satellite focus. You can see here with NGA and NRO, and a little bit more of an analytical focus. That's because Bob McNamara had the Whiz Kids and so forth. A lot of famous, this clandestine service is what Mike Flynn was trying to develop as kind of a check against the CIA, against John Brennan. He wanted to develop 300 guys there. He kind of got quashed by Brennan. So there's kind of this running battle between CIA and DIA. You can see here that they're quite adept at covering operations. They can come up with different stories and so forth for different operations, like let's say 9/11 or whatever. So I'll just wrap up basically by saying wacky things like Abu Ghraib come from DIA. I definitely think there's a huge connection to the Irregular Warfare Center, the Navy's Irregular Warfare Center, the Navy SEALs. I'm not saying that it's Steve Pieczenik, exactly Steve Pieczenik, but that Steve Pieczenik type thinking, the kind of, I'm not saying arrogance, but also wacky out of the box thinking that it's only through my influence campaigns and information operations that the American democracy can survive.